Let's get started. I don't know where you are in your studies. I know some of you I don't know, I assume. I'm not really looking at his faces tonight. Let's go over something that will help everybody. Seduction means to lead the mind astray, to take the mind from where it's at and put it somewhere else. If you go to Las Vegas, you're being seduced. If you watch the Disney Channel, you're being seduced. Disney will take your mind and put it in a fantastic world. If you watch Star Wars or Star Trek, the X-Men, or read any comic book, or if you ever go to the movies and you watch a movie that's not based on actual real life, you're being seduced. Before you go into the experience of being seduced in the theater, you walk in and you have to pretend for, well, you look at the seats, you pick your seat, sit down, hopefully you have a beautiful girl next to you, and very soon the lights will dim, so the environment changes, that comes up, sounds change, and the first, whatever shows, preview. But after a very short amount of time, you'll catch yourself forgetting that there's people around. And it's as if it's just you and the screen watching. In fact, in a short amount of time, you forget that the actor you're looking at was in another movie, or you just saw him on David Letterman or Jimmy Kimmel. And you start believing that he's a vampire, or a king, or whatever the fuck he is. And you get totally into it. And then if there's a baby crying, you get pissed. Because the baby will bring you out of your trance that you're in. Shut that fucker up, please. Or someone gets up, excuse me. Come on, man. Can't you see we're hypnotized right now? And if it's done really well, you will start to feel emotions, sensations, and everything that the theater wants you to have. And then it's done, and you walk out, and you're in this almost mind bend, and then you come out of it. And if the seduction was powerful enough, you might even walk out, and it's nighttime, and you might start kind of looking around the corners or looking up at the sky for a UFO or something, depending on how powerful the impact of this was on you. So, when we think seduction, we think a lot of times having sex with a female, okay? But that's a very limited view. A correct view is you take the mind and you put it into a whole nother world where it starts to have the ideas, sensations, and feelings that you command it to have. So now let's talk about how we do this. Words are the first step. Words and symbols, which are the same thing. And now let's talk about women, because the people watching the video over the world want to know about women. When you look at a woman, you have to look at her and realize the first thing you need to do is you have to take her mind. If she's thinking about school tomorrow, and she's here tonight, that is definitely not going to lead into sex for you. Okay? If she's thinking about her friend got shot, 2 days earlier, and she's hanging out with you, she's not going to do that. The first thing you got to do is, instead of pushing your ideas on her, is find out where she's at. And it's the same thing you do in business. You find out where the person is. You want to get a grasp, you want to get a reality on their world. So as people start talking, the first step you have to have is to listen, right? Listen carefully, because when you start to pay attention to somebody, they start telling you exactly what they're looking for, what they want, what their desires are, what they're trying to avoid. They're constantly, why? Because the world is not acknowledging them, right? That's why they keep saying the same shit like a machine all day long, because no one pays attention to them. So your job is, from the words they use and the way they use it and gestures. If she says to you, she says, you, whatever, she's talking about somebody, she goes, oh God. You know that gesture, oh God. Okay? You make note. Hold on to it. Okay? Later on you're talking. She talks about her boyfriend. You go, oh God. You throw out the same exact gesture she did, in the same exact tone, in the same exact sequence that she did it, same rhythm. And her mind has that as, oh God, she always does that shit when she doesn't like somebody or she's disregarding them. So every time she says his name, you go, oh God. And then you get right into it. And she'll go, what? Because for a moment she'll be like, whoa, that sounded like me. And it's fine. It is like her. That's where you got it from. Or she'll say something like, oh my God, Coachella is coming, which is some fucking stupid concert. She goes, oh my God. You look at her hands, you look at her, oh my God. You know? And then you use that to your advantage. The problem with seduction is people, when they're trying to seduce, they're stuck in their own head and they can't see outside. So they're worried about what they're doing instead of looking at what's being said in front of them clearly. You'll say something and she will shift her position. She'll go, she just had a thought. That was not an accident, just so you know. Or you'll say something and she'll go, okay, she might as well go, and when you start, you saw my titties when I did that? I created very nice tits when I did that. So what you have to be aware of is it's not subtle. We think it's subtle because we're not taught to pay attention to details and see it. But if you deal with a dog, right? I'm a dog trainer also. She's very subtle. Her eyes will go like this and they'll go like this. And that little flinch can't be missed. Or she'll slightly shift her body like this. And that's an actual thing. That's not just like somehow she shifted. It's in response to what's happening in the environment. So when you look at a female or you look at a customer, that's what you have to pay attention to. You got to get out of your head and you got to watch and you got to go, there is absolutely no way that that person can hide exactly what they're thinking and feeling, and I know it. And here I go. That's it. And you just start paying attention to what they say. And as they do, you guide it. Now we have sensation of touch, taste, sound, smell, and hearing. Okay? The basic 5. There's more. In order for the theater to work, they have to seduce all those senses. Okay? They don't have the touch yet, but as we move forward in time, you'll see theaters will have, like, at the right time, your seat will shake. You know, when you go to Disneyland, or they'll shoot air as you're going down the roller coaster. And that's a whole different level of seducing the mind than just watching sounds and sights. If you could add all the senses, then you have her mind. If you have her mind, you have her body. Okay? So instead of trying to turn on her body, you get a hold of her mind and you turn it on. Okay? Now, if you want to allow yourself this power, then you have to know that by you grasping her mind, she's going to be better off than if you didn't have her mind. Okay? Let me explain that. If she willingly gives me her mind, which is control of her body, emotions, thoughts, everything, at the end of this moment, whatever it is, that I'm finished with her mind, she should be better off than she was beforehand. And if she's not, if she's worse off, then later you won't allow yourself the power of grabbing her mind. Because we're all good people. We don't like to hurt people. Okay, no matter how evil you think you are. So this is where you get that old idea of power and responsibility go hand in hand. You got to know that what you're going to do with her is going to be something that's going to make her feel better. Now, there's a lot of skill involved, but first, the first layer, which is what I'm telling you right now, is you got to be able to observe who's in front of you and pay close attention. Because the person is telling you everything, every second that you need to hear, without their words. They could even say she says, let's think here. She says, we shouldn't do this. But her body, everything is saying we should do this. Okay? the opposite is also true. She's not complaining word-wise. She's not saying we shouldn't do this, but her body continues to shut down every time you touch her. Okay? You got to be able to see both. This is where people mess up. They can't see it. They're stuck in their own, that kind of thing, right? A very powerful seduction artist is somebody who's continuously designing experiences for people. An experience where people are taken out of their ordinary days, where their regular day is gone. And then they're in the present time paying attention to everything that's happening. A powerful seduction artist will have your mind in their hand and it'll feel good. You see? It'll feel good. That's the power. It's not, this is why people say, this is why people like, sometimes they're like, well, you know, okay, let me give you a personal example, my own example. People say that I'm manipulative and that I manipulate beautiful women. And I agree. In fact, I go further than that. Hold on. Oops. Stupid auto fucking correct. I agree. I agree that I can manipulate beautiful women like nobody can. And I love doing it and I'm probably the best at it. But why would those women allow themselves to be manipulated? Somebody should go ask them that. Are they that stupid? Are the most beautiful women in the Bay Area, the girls I deal with, that fucking stupid when they could have any guy? No, they're not that stupid. It's because when they allow control to me, then they feel better and they survive better. It's like you're driving a car, right? Someone's driving it and the bitch is driving and she's like, and you're like, fuck. Boom, she's bumping her head. She's pissed off. She's playing the wrong music. You go, damn, bitch, calm down. And she's like, well, Vaughn, you think you could do better? You're like, fuck yeah, I can do better. Get the fuck out of here. You sit here, I'll sit here. And then you start the ride and she goes. And then after a while the music changes. She's like bumping her head. And then she relaxes and she's having this conversation. You're driving. And after a while she's like, oh, I never got a rest. Wow, this feels good. Boom. That's you being in control. Okay? But if you grab the wheel and you keep crashing the fucking car, she'll never give you the control. Okay? So it's something, as a seducer, it's something that you have to be proud of.